Think about this for a minute. In addition to certainty of close, what else matters to a seller? So now that you've thought about it, I wonder if your list is similar to mine. In addition to certainty of close, which is of chief importance, price. Are they getting a great offer for their house? Do they feel like they're getting the right money for the value they perceive? The speed of close, how quickly they go from getting an offer to the ability to close the transaction and be able to move on with the next step in their life. The cleanliness of the offer. Is there a lot of terms and conditions and warrants and escrow attached to this, or is it a very clean, straightforward offer? And then flexibility. Maybe you haven't found as a seller that next home you want to move to. Is there a little bit of flexibility around how long you might stay in your home after the sale is transacted, so maybe you can live there for a little while you're figuring out your next move? Those are fuel. Let's turn our attention to friction. If you're a seller, what might be standing in your way? If you think about those four forces, inertia, effort, emotion, and reactance, what forces are present that might prevent you from going ahead with a proposed offer? When thinking about the frictions present in the seller's perspective, the list usually includes things like the effort behind how much time and money it takes to list your home and stage your home, the effort of showing your home, having to vacate for 2 hours at a time at a moment's notice when a potential buyer wants to come and tour the house or do an open house. 3, negotiation and price changes. 4, contingencies, contingent offers, which means unlike an all-cash buyer, contingent offers are ones in which the purchaser needs to have either sold their existing home in order to buy the new home, or the loan that they're going to receive is contingent upon a previous sale. This carries a lot of risk for a seller because they may take their house off the market while a buyer is trying to sell their own home, and that either is successful and things can move forward, or maybe there's a hiccup along the way that prevents that progress from actually happening. That creates a lot of emotional friction and anxiety for a seller in that situation. The effort and anxiety in finding a new home to move to. Hey, we got rid of our old home, but where are we going to go next? And then last, the risk of what's called relisting. If I'm a seller and I think I've got a done deal and my buyer has a contingent offer on the table, if they're unable to actually access the financing they need, what I'm forced to do is put my house back on the market, which ordinarily wouldn't seem like a huge deal until you consider a couple of factors. Number one, relisted houses carry a stigma. While it may be that the reason the house was relisted was because the buyer wasn't able to secure a loan, other buyers in the market see a house come back on and their natural assumption is something must be wrong with the house. There must be something going on that the previous potential buyer discovered, and that house now has a little bit of a dark cloud around it, which is often difficult for the seller to overcome. And now the seller's timeline is also shrunk. They may have spent 30 to 45 days or more waiting for the loan and waiting for the deal to close. If that deal doesn't close, now they've wasted 30, 45, 60 days, and that means they need to accelerate the relisting process, accelerate the selling process, and maybe actually take a lower value for their home. So in addition to all of the fuel, there's an overwhelming amount of friction that takes place in this particular situation for sellers. And if you see these frictions mapped on what we call a friction map, which is a worksheet that helps innovators forecast where this friction might occur, it looks a little like this.